Hello, guys. Welcome along to this episode of the podcast. Today's episode, I just wanted to do a quick episode regarding mental health and loss around Christmas time and things like that, where people are feeling that little bit worse this time of year. It's a big time for families and being together and being there to support each other. And this is a time where people can feel really lonely or really down, missing people who aren't here. And even though it's nice to catch up with family and friends who you don't see as much during the year, this time of year still does make you think of those people who are no longer here with us to celebrate this time with us. And yeah, so basically, that is the main point of today's episode. And for me personally, I'm someone who's suffered from this time of year in particular for a long time, really, going back really to when I was 16. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to go through a quick thing regarding mental health, and then I'm going to share my story, and hopefully that can help somebody else. And if anyone wants to share back with me as I've shared with you, that'd be great to get your thoughts and obviously your side of the things, your story. And yeah, so let's go along with that one. So let's straight on with this one. Mental health regarding, well, people's mental health, it's not really something that's been spoken about over the years, particularly for men and things like that. Now, I was just looking back over some stats there over the past sort of 12 to 18 months, and going back, some key facts there that there was 1.76 million people who were in contact with the secondary mental health services. This was by the end of August this year, and the majority of these, just over 1.1 million, were in contact with adult services. A further 414,500 people were in contact with children and young people's mental health services by the same period at the end of August 2023. And there was 252,361 people that were in contact with learning disabilities or autism services, also by the end of August 2023, this year, yeah. And there was 157,000 new referrals that were received, with 1.97 million care contacts were attended during the August period this year. And also there was 21,620 people that were subject to Mental Health Act, including 16,500 people detained in hospital at the end of August this year. So that is the 12-month period from August 2022 to August 2023. And there is other various stats what you can find. I'm just checking on the NHS website. There's plenty of support groups out there and counselling sessions and things like that. It's something I have been involved with myself. So these stats here were provided from the 1st of September to the 30th of September, that was 2022, to the 30th of September 2023. With the most recent stats coming out, I think it's sometime this week for the next period of that. So basically now I'll get on to my story. So for me, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I've been someone that's struggled with my mental health really for a long time. And like I say, if this can resonate with anyone and help anyone in any way, brilliant. Then hopefully that can do that, even if it's to help you reach out to someone else, to get in contact with NHS, your own doctors, or any other private services that are available out there. Also, I will put any numbers and any helplines and websites and things like that, and useful resources to help anyone who's out there struggling, especially with this time of year. So here goes. My personal story, guys. So my name is David Simpson. I am now 42, coming up 43 next month. And over these last, I don't know, maybe 6 years, possibly, is when I've really started to get to the bottom of things and started to look forward, I suppose, as well, but also to deal with the past, what's what's kind of troubled me and it kind of hung over me really as like a black shadow, a grey cloud almost over all these years. So for me, I was one of four. There was us four boys at home. I had one older brother and two younger brothers. So my other older brother, 2 years older than me, there was me, Andrew, and then a couple of years later, there was my younger brother, Paul, who was 2 years younger than me, and then a couple of years in between Paul and our other brother. So Paul was born in 83, and then 88, our youngest brother, John, was born. So we were a fairly pretty, like a good, happy household with the four of us, my mum and dad. And mental health back in those days wasn't really spoken about, and it wasn't really as kind of in the media and the help and support out there what there is now. And my mum it's probably struggled for a long time. Really, it's something we didn't really know about at the time that she was struggling, but it all kind of came to a head when my youngest brother was born, and she'd had a bit of postnatal depression. I think she said it was reported with people around us at the time. Um, I think it was yeah, it's quite a personal thing, so I won't really go into too much detail and for things. But yeah, she'd struggled at the time with a bit of postnatal depression, and there was a lot of things going on that kind of, I would say, affected us at home at the time. And then as the years went by as well, it became a bit more kind of prevalent, and then we knew about it. Um, so skipping on a few years to when I was at senior school, um, and there was social services mentioned, and they were kind of involved a little bit with us at home. So we used to go, me and my younger brother used to go to see people at social services. We used to get like social workers that come into our school, pick us up, and I think they were basically just kind of assessing us as kids to see how we were in ourselves, if we were still interacting with other kids, how we seemed physically, mentally, with with our home situation. And it was quite difficult, I think, I would say, growing up. But I mean, it's only been the last couple of years where I've looked at things and have kind of assessed. I've seen where over the last couple of years I've had some pretty tough times, like mentally in my own head and things like that. And it's been difficult. It has been really difficult. But it's this kind of period where now I'm being able to look at the last couple of years, but the last 20 or 30 years, to assess the whole, like bigger picture, to see where things, I would say, went wrong, but like kind of helped, not helped, sorry, like where it affected me and kind of made me the person I kind of am today. So I'll get onto that in just a moment. But from that period there where I was saying I was in senior school, for me, then I was never really one for, being tied down to things, being stuck in school, having to listen to things I didn't really have no interest in. I was kind of a quite introverted kind of a person. Things at home probably were affecting me, which I didn't realise really as much at the time. So then it kind of, me going into school, it affected me going into school and things. I was quite withdrawn from every other people. And then I had a period of not wanting to go to school at all. I was kind of nicking off people, like bunking off school or whatever you want to call it. I dragged my younger brother into it, which, obviously I shouldn't have done. But yeah, anyway, I digress a little bit. But yeah, that is something, it was just something I did then. I played truant quite a lot, and I was off school quite a bit. Um, and then come towards 15, 16, would be going at maths year at school. I moved schools to go to somewhere where I could have a bit more help and support because they could see I was probably struggling in school, where there could have been a bit more support. Then going into the last year, um, I was 16. 16, yeah, this was coming into the November time, 1997. Yeah, so November 1997, this is where things kind of sort of changed for me a little bit, really. From this point, sorry, from this point, I mentioned that I was 16, my youngest brother was 9. This was when my dad sadly passed away. He was in hospital for a while. He'd actually went in on the 5th of November, which was bonfire night 1997. Um, he'd had a stroke at home and he fell out of bed. He wasn't too well in himself, really. He was fairly underweight, but he'd lived with that since he was a kid. But anyway, yeah, he got took into hospital. Um, he was doing okay. We went in to see him. He obviously could see like the effect of the stroke, but he was sat up, he was talking, he was responding to us. But over the nearly 2 weeks, I think, yeah, over the 2 weeks he was in hospital, he'd he'd got worse and worse gradually, and he'd have to have an emergency operation to release like the pressure on his brain. He was in hospital. He got moved over to the old Middlesbrough General Hospital, and it came to the point where uh, they really said that they couldn't, they couldn't do anything really for him at this point now, and it was a case of he was on a life support machine, and they decided that they were going to switch him off. So yeah, that was really difficult. That was really difficult. Yeah, and then so we sort kind of got ourselves together. We sat round the bed. His bed in the hospital. There was me and my brothers, my mum, and we sat there with him as long as we could, and, and then they said, it's time, and that was difficult. Um, and really, I think I went from there as a 16-year-old boy to, I suppose, to where I am now, but up till a couple of years ago, 3, maybe 4 years ago, when I first started getting help with counselling and things like that. But that was where I kind of just got by every single day up until that point, and really struggled and didn't really know what mental health was, and that I wasn't dealing with things. I never really dealt with my dad's passing. I kind of just threw myself into things. I was hanging out with my mates. I was getting myself into trouble. I was being a bit of an asshole, for want of a better word. But I was just doing silly things, but also things that you would expect kids to do at that age. Um, so yeah, and I'd had a couple of tough years from then going on. I felt like I really had to kind of grow up quickly, where me and my other brothers had to help my mum with looking after our youngest brother, because my mum really struggled with this at the time. Yeah, so it was really difficult for her. But we were only kids ourselves. I was 16, my older brother was 18. Then there was my second younger brother was 14. And obviously, I mentioned that my younger brother was 9 when my dad passed away. We had a couple of difficult years. We sort of really had to grow up really quickly in this kind of dark cloud of a bubble, really. And it was difficult. It's only now, like I say, I've looked back and I've kind of come to realise that it took me a lot of years, and I've had counselling, therapy, I've had like bereavement services counselling, and this is not something I really knew about at the time. Like I say, it's only been in the last 2 or 3 years anyway where I've had any real counselling through the NHS, my own doctor, through Cruise, which is a bereavement services. So that's another number that's helpful for people, another place for you to contact if you're struggling with mental health, but also regarding the like bereavement of losing someone. So that is a good service. But yeah, I mean, I don't say this to. It's certainly not for any sympathy. It's not for anyone to feel sorry for me or anything like that. These are just things that have happened to me. So yeah, so when my dad passed away, me and my younger brother was only 2 years younger than me. Me and him were really close. We done everything together. We kind of supported each other. We both struggled in our own way. We were quite private, kind of in our grief. But then we used to drink a lot to numb this out. Really, like you hang around with your mates, you'd be drinking when you shouldn't be drinking, and that kind of thing. One of the first things I did actually was go to the pub with my older brother because I'm just sat in the house, just totally lost, not knowing what to do with myself or anything like that. So yeah, that was difficult. But anyway, so yeah, so we got by. So yeah, so I was 16 at the time. This was 1997. A couple of years, a few jobs and things and like that in between, and then moving on to 2006, almost 10 years after my dad had passed away. Me and my brothers were kind of, yeah, I suppose we were getting on with our lives and we were just trying to live as much of a normal life as possible. Used to go out clubbing quite a lot with my older brother, and my younger brother was 2 years younger than me. Me and him used to go out quite a lot every weekend when we could, and just be young people, not have too many worries and cares and things like that in the life. In life, me and him were really close. I was 26 by this time. I think it was 25, 26, and he was 23. My younger brother just turned 23. We were both still at home at this point. We were sort of like sharing a bedroom. It was our own little man pad, if you want to call it that. Yeah, we had our own sports TV channels. We'd sit and watch Sky Sports and things like that. We had like our own. We had a little snooker table in there. It was like a proper little typical lads pad. And we used to go to football quite a lot. We're both big Middlesbrough fans. I still got games myself now. We went to a particular game this year. It was August 2006. And this was something that really, really, it was really hard. I went to the game with my brother, my two younger brothers. My younger brother was 23, and my youngest brother was actually turning 18 the next day. So it was kind of like I bought them both a ticket. I had a season ticket. They both came along with me. And there was coming up to 10 minutes to go in the game. Middlesbrough were playing Chelsea. We were losing 1-0. We just scored to equalise. If you follow football, you probably remember this particular game. It's 23rd of August, 2006. And as we sort of jumped up, I was in a row a few rows further up in the same stand, looking down where the two brothers were. My both brothers, they jumped up to celebrate the goal, and my brother, who was 2 years younger than me, was 23. He'd collapsed at this point, and he sort of fell on my youngest brother, who was sat next to him. And we weren't quite sure what was happening. There was all a bit of a kerfuffle kind of thing, and then he got took to the medical room. We'd followed round. They were working on him round behind the curtains in the back of the medical unit in the side stadium, and he'd got taken in the ambulance to the hospital, and me and my younger brother had followed along in a police car, actually. I was outside the stadium, followed the ambulance to the hospital, but then when we got there, they took him in the room, and they came out and told us that sadly my brother had passed away. That there was nothing they could have done for him. Basically, when he jumped up, he'd collapsed on the spot. He'd had what they call like a brain aneurysm, so when he jumped up, it's popped. He collapsed straight away. He was dead instantly, but obviously they were working on him in the stadium, and then they took him straight to hospital. But then this is something they told us when we got there, and yeah, that hit us all really, really, really hard. My mum struggled desperately with this. Sorry, and it was something that she found difficult. And as a parent, she kind of felt, I suppose, guilty in a way. She kind of, when we went in to see my brother and say our goodbyes to him in the room, she was kind of apologising to him, and things like that. She was saying it was difficult anyway, and she was just she felt some kind of guilt, and so that was difficult for us. And then from there, I kind of spiraled again. Um, for a couple of years, I was in work at the time. I had to have quite a bit of time off work, so really, really struggling with life at this point. And still, I suppose, not quite knowing what mental health was and things like that. I was, like I say, I was struggling, but I didn't really know to a full extent. But then this was when I was just really struggling in life at this point. Yeah, and I think sort of from 2006 to 2008 was a bit of a blur. Really, from there, I was kind of like in between one or two jobs at that point. But I'd met my partner, who's now my wife, um, and things were going good with us for a good period there. And then, we decided we were going to have a family. She'd already had a little boy who was sort of, I've always thought as my own son. I still do, always will. Um, Obviously, we decided we were going to start a family and have kids together. She got pregnant, and we found that we were expecting a little boy. We were absolutely over the moon with this. We are having the scans every now and again, like when you have the scans of 13 weeks, the 20 whatever it is weeks, and then everything was going okay. Then all of a sudden, she hadn't felt in move for a couple of days. Well, actually, no, it was only a few hours, maybe the night before. She felt everything was okay, but then all of a sudden, he was quiet the next day. We were like, should we get checked out? Should we not? And so we went over to get checked, and they couldn't find any heartbeat or anything. So she was just desperately, the nurse was like kind of checking, and then they do that thing where she's like, I just need to go up the room and get something. She went and got a consultant that came in, checked again, and then they told us basically that our son had sadly passed away. Um, yeah, and as you can imagine, that was really hard as well. That was massively tough, tough on us both. But without kind of wanting to go into massive detail, but yeah, they basically said he passed away and stuff, like, you know, and we had to go back over 2 days later, the Tuesday. I think we had to go back over on the Thursday, where, because she was 30 weeks at this point, she said that the nurse had said that obviously we had to go back over and go through the pregnancy. She gave birth, everything. He was stillborn, and we got to spend that bit of time in the hospital with him. Over that night, we stayed there in the room, had him with us, checked him over, done what things they have to do. Knowing that he passed, but they let us have that bit of time with him before they had to take him away. They done tests and things, found out the reason and what it was. It was the umbilical cord had got wrapped around his ankle and restricted the oxygen, blood flow, whatever it was, supply. And that was what happened basically. Um, yeah, so that was tough as well. But, I mean, say that was 2008. From there to now, it's been a bit of a journey as well. For us as a family, like me and my wife and my other kids who we've been out since then, it's been tough for us. But for me, over the nearly 30 years now since my dad passed away, it's been a long journey. Um, and then going on to just last year, I'd been out of action with a back injury. I had to have an operation, so I was, for someone who's always been fairly active, especially with the mental health kind of things, I like to get out, go for a run or walk, to get out, clear my head, fresh air. What everyone's like with things like that. But also with the lockdown period, that was hard. Being stuck at home for lockdown, because I was working in the gym as well at the time, so I wasn't being able to get out and about, get active, go to the gym, do things like that. So I was making the most of the time I could get out and do little bits and bobs. But so yeah, last year was tough. I wasn't mobile really, and then I was on the waiting list to have my operation. I had spinal surgery, discs removed, and a bit of the bone and things like that. But I was stuck at home a lot with my own thoughts, going back over all the years of all this stuff that I've been carrying for a long time. It was hard for me. Then that was where, I mean, I've always drank, whether I'd be sad, whether it be at a football match, it was celebrating, whether it was camaraderie with the lads, whatever it is, nights out, for good, bad, in different occasions, football tournaments, anything, family celebrations, funerals, it'd be drink. But I wouldn't be one of these where classic, alcoholics as they call it, where I suppose you imagine this old guy sat at a bench with a brown paper bag and a bottle of vodka, whiskey in a bag, whatever. I used to drink a hell of a lot, and once I started, I just didn't stop. I'd be at home, I'd have endless amounts until I fell asleep, until I passed out, basically. A lot of the time, I'd have to drink quite a lot because I kind of became really good at it. If you're going to be good at something, you might as well be good at that, I suppose, at the time when you're feeling, like I was. But yeah. And bringing me on to around about this time last year, and that's when, through going to counselling again, and then I had my operation in the September, and I was trying to cut down a little bit leading up to my operation because I couldn't tell the hospital how much I was drinking at this point. Yeah, so anyway, so as I was saying there, came to round about this period last year. So I'd had my operation anyway in the September, as I mentioned previously just there, that I was drinking quite a lot by this point, so I couldn't tell the hospital the full extent of my drinking because, they wouldn't do my operation basically. Um, and it was something that had been brought up with my therapy, my counselling sessions. I told them kind of how much I was drinking. And it was them that kind of mentioned getting help for my drinking. So that was where I started kind of getting therapy, I suppose, for that. There's groups out there. I went to this particular group to get help. Um, and I started my sobriety journey. So the first kind of 2 weeks, I was just going into the meetings and things, finding my way around how it worked, and that kind of thing. I did have a little slip off. I get one drink in that time, so I kind of started again. But from that point, I've recently just celebrated a year of sobriety. So that was something I never thought possible. Because like it says in one of the earlier steps that we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives would become manageable, and that was the case for me. Every kind of life problem or life good event or anything like that, I would drink and I would just keep on drinking and drinking. So for me to go in and find out the whole process of this program and the help and support that you can get, and just take them one day at a time, you can get better. I'm proof of that. Just gone a year with all the counselling things I've had over the years has helped, and then now getting to the bottom of my drinking, and that's also kind of linked with the counselling because it's obviously helped me to see that I didn't deal with life and all these problems and things. I dealt with it with drinking, and I tried to push all these problems away. I never spoke about it, never dealt with it, and that's where it's got me to where I am now. But now it's also this last year has got me to where I am today, happy, healthy, sober, and looking forward. And that's really what I want kind of this message to be. And I want everyone to see that there is always hope and positivity out there. You've just got to keep on looking, keep on working hard at it, but just take every day, one day at a time, and take it as it comes. To just take that one little step, bit by bit. Don't look too far in the distance. It's like with anything, with a fitness goal or whatever kind of goal, process goal, work goal. You go from one step and you take another step after that and just follow it on. And that's when you'll start achieving things and you'll get great results and you can live happy, positive, and healthy life. So that was my story, guys. If anyone wants to come on and share their story with me as I've shared with you, that'd be great. It'd be great to hear, some of you guys, what your thoughts are. If anything I've said today has helped, brilliant. Hopefully that can help you and you can go out there and go and get your help yourself and follow some of the steps that I've done to get me to where I am today. I'll put any numbers on there and support websites and things where you can go to get this support. And have a great day, guys. Stay safe, stay sober, stay happy, and stay healthy. Speak soon, guys. Take care. yeah, so anyway, so as I was saying there, came to round about this period last year. So I'd had my operation anyway in the September, as I mentioned previously just there, that I was drinking quite a lot by this point, so I couldn't tell the hospital the full extent of my drinking because, they wouldn't do my operation basically. Um, and it was something that had been brought up with my therapy, my counselling sessions. I told them kind of how much I was drinking. And it was them that kind of mentioned getting help for my drinking. So that was where I started kind of getting therapy, I suppose, for that. There's groups out there. I went to this particular group to get help, and I started my sobriety journey. So the first kind of 2 weeks, I was just going into the meetings and things, finding my way around how it worked, and that kind of thing. I did have a little slip off. I get one drink in that time, so I kind of started again. But from that point, I've recently just celebrated the year of sobriety. So that was something I never thought possible. Because like it says in one of the earlier steps that we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives would become manageable, and that was the case for me. Every kind of life problem or life good event or anything like that, I would drink and I would just keep on drinking and drinking. So for me to go in and find out the whole process of this program and the help and support that you can get, and just take them one day at a time, you can get better. I'm proof of that. Just gone a year with all the counselling things I've had over the years has helped, and then now getting to the bottom of my drinking, and that's also kind of linked with the counselling because it's obviously helped me to see that I didn't deal with life and all these problems and things. I dealt with it with drinking, and I tried to push all these problems away. I never spoke about it, never dealt with it, and that's where it's got me to where I am now. But now it's also this last year has got me to where I am today, happy, healthy, sober, and looking forward. And that's really what I want kind of this message to be. And I want everyone to see that there is always hope and positivity out there. You've just got to keep on looking, keep on working hard at it, but just take every day, one day at a time, and take it as it comes. To just take that one little step, bit by bit. Don't look too far in the distance. It's like with anything, with a fitness goal or whatever kind of goal, process goal, work goal. You go from one step and you take another step after that and just follow it on. And that's when you'll start achieving things and you'll get great results and you can live happy, positive, and healthy life. So that was my story, guys. If anyone wants to come on and share their story with me as I've shared with you, that'd be great. It'd be great to hear, some of you guys, what your thoughts are. If anything I've said today has helped, brilliant. Hopefully that can help you and you can go out there and go and get your help yourself and follow some of the steps that I've done to get me to where I am today. I'll put any numbers on there and support websites and things where you can go to get this support. And have a great day, guys. Stay safe, stay sober, stay happy, and stay healthy. Speak soon, guys. Take care.